Hey guys, welcome to the ninth episode of the Book Nook. I'm your host Olivia, and for today's episode, I'm going to be talking about some of my least favorite books, specifically the books that I thought I would love but actually kind of hated. So, yeah, this is going to be a really interesting episode. A lot of these books on this list are very well known, they're very popular, so this might be a little bit of a controversial episode, but I'm very excited to get started. Okay, so first up is Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. I really expected to like this book. I thought this was going to be a great book because of all the great things I heard about this, and this book was recommended to me by my English teacher freshman year. She said that it's a really good book and that I might be able to relate to like the cultural aspects of it. So basically this book is a memoir about Michelle growing up as a Wasian and her memories from her childhood. This book explores her cultural identity as half Korean after her mother's death. So every time she goes to H Mart, she starts crying because of how much she misses her mom and how she's grieving her mom's death. Most of the book revolves around Michelle's love for Korean food and how Korean food connects to her heritage. So I had very high expectations for this book because I thought it would be a very relatable book since I'm also Korean, but I ended up not liking the writing style that much because I was expecting like a very emotional memoir, a very powerful book that kind of tugs on your heartstrings. But I mean, this book really isn't that. It went in a kind of a different direction than what I was expecting. The book isn't really very, it's not too emotional. This book kind of just doesn't live up to its potential, in my opinion. But no disrespect to the author. I always say when I do these reviews, like, no hate to the author at all. If I didn't like the book, it probably just means that the book isn't really my style and that it wasn't a good fit for me. But I'm sure there are a lot of people that like this book, and that's great. But yeah, it's just, in my opinion, not a big fan of this book. But I do think this book has potential, and if some people like this book, then good for them. But I was not one of them. Okay, moving on to the next book, Shadow Me by Tareya Mafi. This is a young adult romance book, and based on all the good reviews I saw and how much other people seem to love this book, I also had very high hopes for this book because this book was so loved on Book Talk. It was so popular. Everyone literally was obsessed with this book. The main reason that I didn't like this book is because it was too spicy for my liking and the romance scenes were a little too much. The plot was very interesting though. I will say that. Props to Tareya Mafi for making a really creative plot. I really enjoyed the dystopian aspect of this book. I liked the whole world that is in this book. I like the I like how Juliet, the protagonist, how she couldn't touch anyone because of how lethal her touch is and how like dangerous she is. She's literally a living weapon. Like she is literally a human like gun or like a human bomb or something. Like she's literally a human weapon, and I like that part. I think it was really interesting. Yeah, I don't like the romance part. Like this would have been a way better book if the romance part was like a little bit toned down. If like like the romance part is like it's all the way up here, but like if it was like a little down here, like if she just like toned it down a little bit, it would have been a lot better. I understand how this book is like really popular because all the romance books are so popular on Book Talk, but it's just not, this one isn't really one of my favorites. And in every single book in this whole series, like all the romance scenes between Juliet and her love interest are exactly the same. I feel like there's no creativity with the romance scenes at all. It's like she literally uses the same words to like describe the scenes. But yeah, I would rate this book probably a 5 out of 10. I mean, I like after I read this book the first time, even though it wasn't my favorite, I still like read it again when I was bored. So like this book wasn't horrible, but it's also not the best one ever. But at least this book is better than, well, at least this book was more interesting. It wasn't like better, but like it was more interesting than a lot of other romance books I've read because this book has the dystopian plot. So I love the I love the dystopian storyline of this book. I thought it was so cool and original and creative. But yeah, okay, moving on to the next book, which is actually a book series, The Some Are Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This book is so popular on Book Talk, so popular on social media, especially the TV show. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about the TV show, but let's talk about the book for now. So this series is also young adult romance, and I genuinely thought that I would love this series because I liked Jenny Han's To All the Boys series, and all my friends were talking about the TV show. Everyone and their mother is talking about the TV show on social media. Like every single girl loves the TV show and the Some Are Turned Pretty books. It's so popular with teenagers, and it's a very successful TV show, but it turns out the series wasn't as good as I expected it to be. The plots for all the books in the series were very predictable and unoriginal. They were kind of the exact same plot as every single summer romance series. It's so unoriginal, and I'm getting tired of like the same exact plot for every romance book. Like I'm getting so tired of them because they're so predictable. I already know what happens. Like I don't even have to read the whole book. Like I could just read like the first 10 pages and I can know what happens in the whole entire story. Also, the characters were all very two-dimensional and they had no character development or growth at all. They had no personalities, honestly. They were just stereotypical teenagers, immature, and they were really unlikable. Like Belly in particular, the protagonist, she was so annoying. She was the most annoying character in the book. Very unlikable. She starts so many problems and conflicts for no reason. She deliberately ruins Conrad and Jeremiah's relationship and their entire family. Like, she literally makes the two brothers hate each other just because she's so indecisive. She goes back and forth. She plays with both of their feelings. She hurts both of them. And, like, she didn't have to lead them on and like hurt their feelings just because she's indecisive. Like she literally changes her mind all the time. And also she's like very childish and immature. Like sorry, but she's like how old? 16, 17. In the last book she's in college, but she still acts really immature. She obviously isn't ready for a real relationship. She dates Jeremiah and then she almost marries him even though she's been in love with Conrad all along, and she knows this too. Like when she said yes to his proposal, like she knew in the back of my mind that she was still kind of in love with Conrad, and like throughout the whole process of planning the wedding she was literally still in love with Conrad. She had feelings for him still, but she just went along with the wedding. She just wanted to marry Jeremiah, and like she's so annoying. She almost made me not want to finish the book series. She's also really shallow and superficial. As bad as Belly was in the books, though, the show made her even more unbearable. Like, the show made her even worse. They completely exacerbated her character flaws, and they just turned her into an even more annoying character, even more than she already was. So, yeah, the show was pretty bad. Like, I mean, it's really bad. I watched the first and second seasons. I haven't watched the third season yet, but it was so bad. Like, they made it worse. Like, honestly, they turned a pretty mediocre book series and they made it horrible. Like, it's so bad. But as bad as the TV show was, I still continue to watch it. Like, I still finished the first and second seasons because, like, as, like, bad as it was, like, at least the acting was good. I think the actors did a good job. So, yeah. But anyway, I would rate the whole series a 6 out of 10. I'm probably not gonna read it ever again. Okay, moving on to Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell or Rowell. This is a young adult romance. I read this in 8th grade in English class, and it's about a girl named Eleanor and a guy named Park falling in love. This book wasn't really memorable. It didn't stand out from the rest of the romance books I've read. Like I said before, all romance books follow the same exact format. They have the same plot, same tropes, very stereotypical, cliche, very predictable. No interesting plots at all, no creativity, no originality, just just recycling the same ideas over and over. I never read this book again. I literally did not pick this up after 8th grade. I don't even remember what happens. I literally forgot the whole plot, but all I know is that Eleanor and Park fell in love, and then they ended up together. In the end, they lived happily ever after. This book was okay. It wasn't as bad as Shatter Me, but it wasn't good either. I would rate this a 5 out of 10. Don't really recommend this book unless you like being bored. Okay, now this next book is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. This is a young adult novel. The protagonist is Madeline, and she has a very severe disease that prevents her from going outside. It's called Severe Combined Immunodeficiency, or SCID. So that means that she has a weak immune system and she's more susceptible to infections and viruses. So, because of this disease, she's constantly isolated in a room, and the only people she can see are her mom and her nurse, which are the only two people in her life. She's never been in the outside world until Ollie shows up as her neighbor and they fall in love. Since Madeline isn't allowed to touch anyone, there's kind of a forbidden romance trope going on. And these two run away together, and Maddie goes outside for the first time. And later, there's a shocking plot twist that reveals the truth about Maddie's so-called disease. This is a spoiler alert, so skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled. But her mom made up the whole thing. She was never actually sick, okay? Maddie was perfectly healthy, and her mom made it up because of her own mental health issues and probably from her grief and trauma from losing her husband. But no, yeah, her mom is like kind of insane. She literally lied to Maddie. She lies to her own daughter and makes a fake illness to keep her safe because she doesn't want Maddie to have a normal life. She doesn't want Maddie to go outside. Probably because she's like too scared to lose Maddie, just like she lost her husband. But this lie ruins her and Maddie's relationship, okay? Like, Maddie's never gonna trust her again. Like, Maddie's literally gonna be so mad at her mom. I would too. But yeah, this book was creative enough, and I liked the plot twist, kind of, because I wasn't expecting it to happen. But I didn't like the characters that much because they kind of lacked depth and personalities. So I would rate this book a solid 6 out of 10. I don't think I would ever read this book again. Don't really recommend it. Yeah. Okay, moving on to All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. So this is a young adult novel. The protagonists are Violet and Theodore, who meet at school when Violet was about to commit suicide. They fall in love and they start a relationship. Theodore also struggles with his own mental health issues throughout the book. This book is very sad and tragic, which is why I don't really like it. I'm not a big fan of like really sad books, like sad endings, and just books that are so sad and dark. This book was so depressing. I don't like depressing books like this, but I did like how this book kind of raised awareness about mental health issues. I think that's pretty important. I just didn't like the plot of this book. Also, I don't think this book should have been turned into a movie. I haven't watched the movie, but I saw the trailer and it didn't look that good. I don't know why they're turning every book into a movie nowadays. This book should not have been a movie. I think it was fine just like by itself, just a book. I would rate this a 4 out of 10, definitely. Okay, so now this book is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. This is a romance novel. The protagonists are Ben, an author, and Fallon, who's an actress. They meet on November 9th every year for like 5 years, and only on November 9th. Like, they don't see each other the whole rest of the year because they don't, like, because of Fallon. She made a promise to her mom that she would wait to like marry someone until she was like hit a certain age, until she was like 25 or something. Like, she wouldn't fall in love with anyone, or like she wouldn't get into a serious relationship with anyone. So because of that promise Fallon made to her mom, they couldn't really date. Oh wait, actually I think her promise to her mom was that she wouldn't date anyone until she was a certain age. Like, her mom was like, you don't really know yourself when you're young, so you need to wait until you're like 25 to start dating and getting into a serious relationship. So I'm pretty sure that's the promise that she made. I honestly don't remember like the specific details because I only read this book once a few years ago and it was so bad that I never want to read it again. But yeah, so the two of them fall in love and they have a very unusual relationship. It almost falls apart at the climax when there's this huge plot twist. Ben reveals his secret betrayal and it really hurts Fallon. I'm not gonna spoil this book, but yeah, the betrayal is pretty bad. This book, it's really bad. It's a really horrible thing of Ben to do, but I'm not gonna spoil the book. And yeah, so this book, like all Colleen Hoover books, is very spicy. A lot of romance, like a lot of romance. It's kind of gross, but I honestly, like, I don't think Bennett and Fallon ever actually liked each other. I feel like the romance felt a little forced. Like, there was no chemistry between them. It's just the vibes weren't there. Like, the vibes that I got was that they were kind of forced into falling in love for the book, for the plot. I don't think it was natural. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel authentic. I don't think they were like really that compatible in my opinion. But yeah, this is literally kind of the same plot as all the other Colleen Hoover books. As you guys know, I'm not a Colleen Hoover fan at all. I don't like any of her books. I mean, I just don't like her writing style. I don't like her genre. I think Colleen Hoover is a really bad author. She's just not good at all. I don't like how she writes. Like, I just don't like the style. It's not for me. It's not really, yeah, it doesn't fit with my personal preferences. But yeah, this book was really, really, really bad. This was horrible. It belongs in the trash. I'm sorry, Colleen Hoover, if you're watching this. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm not trying to make fun of your books. I'm just giving my honest review and my honest personal opinions. Yeah, and if any Colleen Hoover fans are watching this, again, like, I'm not trying to, like, be mean and bully Colleen Hoover. I don't know her. I'm sure she's a good person. I just don't like her writing, you know? I just don't like her books. Um, yeah, again, like, it's totally fine if you like Colleen Hoover books. I'm just saying, you will never catch me reading a Colleen Hoover book. After I read the three books, I read It Ends With Us, It Starts With Us, and November 9, and all three of them were so bad. All three of these books are like disgusting. I wanted to like throw these books in the trash or burn them or just like rip them up because they were so bad. But I would rate this a 2 out of 10. Yeah, that's generous, honestly. But okay, now this is one of the last books, 1984 by George Orwell. This is a dystopian book. I usually like dystopian books, but I just didn't like this one at all. So I started this book with really high hopes after reading Animal Farm, which I loved, but I didn't like this particular book. The protagonist is Winston, who from the beginning is a really unlikable character. He's even worse than Belly from The Summer I Turned Pretty, and that's saying a lot. So Winston in the beginning of the book, he says that he hates all women, especially pretty women. So he literally says that. That is the quote that he said. Um, and right from the beginning, not a good impression, not a good first impression at all. Like, first of all, he's sexist. We know this from the beginning that he's a sexist person, and he's just annoying. He's, I mean, he's so unbearable and intolerable. Like, I can't even. He's also a cheater, and he literally cheats on his wife because he has an affair with Julia, this random girl that he meets, like, out of nowhere. So they all live in a totalitarian society in this world that George Orwell imagined would be reality in 1984. So in this society, Big Brother is always watching everything and everyone. He kind of represents the invasive power of surveillance and the lack of privacy people had. So, propaganda and indoctrination are big themes of this book because everyone is brainwashed into believing Big Brother is good and that their society is normal. The last line in the book, after Winston is tortured and brainwashed, is that he loved Big Brother. He loved Big Brother. Like, that's the last line. And that is just so insane and crazy to me. Because after his rebellion against the oppressive government, he was forced to submit to Big Brother and the government. So in the book, it says that if Big Brother said 2 plus 2 was 5, he had to believe that it was right. He had to say that 2 plus 2 equals 5. So this book was very bad simply because of Winston and Julia and the lack of morals they had and their character flaws. That was my main issue with this book. I like the totalitarian government and the message of the book. I like science fiction, dystopian, speculative fiction because the plots are very interesting. I think the theme of this book was okay. I think it was pretty good. I just didn't like the characters at all. Like Winston and Julia were so annoying. Also, I feel like George Orwell's writing style just kind of changed. I feel like it's really different from Animal Farm. Like the way he wrote this book wasn't as interesting or engaging because when I read Animal Farm, it was a page turner. Like I really couldn't wait to see what was next. Well, this book it was just kind of slow. Like the pacing was slow. The world was kind of like the setting was it was okay. Um no, but just the way that George Orwell wrote this book was not as good as it could have been because he was a great writer. He had a lot of talent, so I think this book was kind of just it didn't live up to his potential. But yeah. So I rated this one a 5 out of 10 cuz it was okay. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't as bad as Colleen Hoover books, but it wasn't good either. Okay, now the last book is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This is a murder mystery book, very popular as well. I heard really great reviews about this book, but I just didn't like this one. You know, I'm not a big fan of murder mysteries in general because I don't really like violent books and movies. Like, I don't like anything too violent. But I gave this one a shot and I was kind of very disappointed. This plot was boring and unmemorable, and I barely got through the book. I didn't even want to finish reading this book, but I forced myself to finish just so I could know what happened. This book almost put me to sleep, honestly. I got so bored of this book. It was just not interesting at all. So, yeah, I am gonna rate this probably a 3 out of 10. Yeah, I am not gonna read this book ever again. Don't really recommend this book. Definitely don't read this book if you also don't like murder mysteries. Yeah, this book is not for you if you aren't a fan of murder mysteries. But yeah, that is the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this episode very interesting and entertaining. Hopefully I didn't rage bait too many of you guys. If I did, then just comment down below which um books that you liked. Like, if you loved any of these books, I'm sorry, but this is just my brutally honest opinion. You guys know that this podcast, I don't lie on here. I'm always very honest with my reviews and recommendations and opinions. So, yeah, these are all of the books that I thought I would like, but unfortunately I didn't. As I say in like almost every episode, this is just for me. This is my opinion, not trying to tell you guys what to read or what not to read. You're read whatever you want, but this is what I thought about all these books. So, yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, then remember to subscribe and like this video and comment down below. Also, follow the Book Nook on Instagram. And I have a very special announcement that I have been waiting to announce, but I recently started a newsletter for the Book Nook. So, yeah, this is very exciting. It's very new. I've never done a newsletter before, but this is on the website Substack, and you can subscribe for free to get an email to you, and you can also pay to subscribe if you want. If you are a paid subscriber, then you get one extra newsletter article a month. You get new episodes a day before they drop on YouTube and Spotify. You get even more extra behind the scenes content. You get even more funny exclusive content, and if you are a paid subscriber, you get early access to everything. You have early access to special announcements. You get to know firsthand what I'm going to announce. You get to have early access to giveaways and merch and everything fun, all those fun things, and you get the honor of being a VIP member of the Book Nook community. And if you are a subscriber for free, then you get one monthly newsletter article in your inbox, and you also get access to exclusive content, some fun behind the scenes things, and you get to know announcements ahead of time before they're announced on social media, and you kind of get to see some teasers of episodes. You get some sneak peeks of episodes before I release them. So yeah, that is everything that you can get if you subscribe for free. I am so excited to have this new outlet to communicate with you guys. And yeah, I love talking with you guys. I love interacting with my audience. It's so great. And I hope that this newsletter can just be a really good way of communication and connection between us. And I hope that you guys subscribe to see some more fun content. And yeah, like I said before, you can get this newsletter on the Substack website, or you can subscribe to get it in your inbox. I will link everything down below, and the link is also in my YouTube bio. Yeah, that is my fun little announcement for today, and stay tuned for more fun, exciting things. There are a lot of exciting things coming your way soon. I have so much stuff planned up for the next few months, so just stay tuned, follow the Book Nook Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and remember to click that notification button to stay up to date on everything related to the Book Nook. So yeah, I hope you guys like this episode. Thanks so much for watching. I'm your host Olivia Im, signing off. I'll see you guys in the next one.